What's up, everyone? I'm Tatum. I'm back with another episode of Flowers, which is my segment where I like to give, some classic albums, whether it be rock, hip hop, their flowers. So, today, we're talking about Zeppelin 1. I guess it's just called Zeppelin, but just to identify, because if I just say uh, Led Zeppelin, you're just gonna. So, we're gonna talk about Led Zeppelin 1. Uh, yeah, let's get into it. So, first of all, this is going to be the first part of my Zeppelin series. I'm going to do 1 through 4. And depending on how you guys like it, I'll continue. But I wanted to start out with at least the number albums just to get those, show those some recognition because those are like yeah. So to start off, going back and listen to this album and doing a little bit more research, I think this was like the first indie album, indie rock, just indie album. Like it was recorded with the band's money, pretty much Jimmy Page money, but it was recorded with their own funds. It only took, I would say, probably like a little under $2,000 to record. They had all the material because they were touring it prior to recording it, and it only took 36 hours to make this album. Do you know how crazy that is for one of the greatest rock albums of all time was recorded in 36 hours. That's fucking insane. But that was one of the things I was like, damn, this, because they had the album and then they shopped it to Atlantic, which was like a blues record company that really didn't like indulge in the rock yet. And like Zeppelin was one of the first groups that they actually, especially from abroad, that they brought in. So I thought that was pretty cool. And they gave these guys 150,000 in advance. Their manager, which I think every artist should have a manager like this, Peter Grant. He worked out one of the greatest freaking deals for artists of all time. Like they were able to, they had full control over what the music they wanted to record. They had full control over when they wanted to record and when they wanted to tour. They had control over the album packaging, the way it was going to be promoted, the singles. Like that's unprecedented, especially for a new artist. You'll be lucky if you even get to choose what ring you want to wear. Like, so that was like crazy. Now I think about it, but let's get into the album, man. All right. It starts off with Good Times, Bad Times. And going into this album, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, but this is like a sad ass love album. Like all the songs are pretty much centered around heartbreak. And I wonder if like who's the girl or the muse that was used for this album, like throughout time, did they listen back to it like, God damn it, I fucked up? Cause like every single song is a fucking just a heartbreaker, man. Like Good Times, Bad Times. I'm Gonna Leave You, which is the way that song comes on just puts me in a trance, for lack of better words. And I'm just sucked in. As soon as it comes on, I'm just taken back about. And let's just give fucking Jimmy Page his flowers, because he's a fucking creative genius to produce all these songs. And looking back, I know I'm going all over the place, but looking back, it's one of the few times, and I could be wrong, but it feels like it's one of the few bands that the lead singer is not technically the leader, if that makes sense. Like usually the lead singer is like, well, I guess the Doors are like that as well, but he fucking orchestrated this whole thing, the songs, the music. And you got to give Robert Plant his flowers as well. He has one of the greatest voices that in rock music and music period. Like his range is just fucking out of this world, you know what I mean? So yeah, Good Times, Bad Times. My woman fell in love with a brown eyed man, but he don't sing the like that. For that to be the hook is like is fucking insane to me. And then going into Babe, You're Gonna Leave, and just how Robert Plant hit the baby, baby, baby. Like that shit just hits the soul. Like I don't even know. I don't even know another way to describe it besides that. You Shook Me's great. Like, think about this. I know I'm like, think about this. It's 8 songs on this album. And that's one thing I loved about like old music. You know what I mean? Like Nowadays, people add 48 songs to an album, be 20 songs plus the deluxe lux, and it's like, and it's still not good enough. But if you can kill an album and make it classic in 8 songs, do you know how hard that is? Like, and then some of the songs, they're like switching mid song, and then tempos, like BPMs. They'll go from, let's say, 95 BPM to ramp it up and go to 120 and then drop it back to 95 BPM. It's something in that range. Like Dazed and Confused goes through this whole trippy intro, verse, and then they just rock out like and change the whole beat and then bring it back. It's tugging at your emotional strings, bro. Like that shit is like, yeah, like it just gets me every time. Then I noticed this is a fucking blues album at its core. Like songs like Your Time's Gonna Come, Daisy, like the lyrics, like I Can't Quit You, Babe. Like these are fucking blues records. And shout out to Willie Dixon. Like he's one of the pioneers of just that blues music. Period. He's been sampled and copied so many times throughout history that I'm pretty sure his publishing checks are fucking insane. Especially with Led Zeppelin, from this album to Zeppelin 2, like it's all him pretty much. And I just wanted to give him credit in this review just because he deserves it, bro. Like, and even like back then, I would consider like Led Zeppelin was like the first group sampling. Like they like it's on some like De La Soul. If you know De La Soul, they were like their first 2 albums had heavy samples, but they didn't clear any of them. It's like the same thing with Led Zeppelin. Like they didn't clear anything. They were just like, eh. And then like they had to retroactively uh I guess add writers to the credits, just like with Robert Plant. Like he was in a contract. I can't remember, and you guys can comment and let me know. But I believe he was in a contract with someone else that he couldn't he couldn't put his name. He couldn't have his name in the credits because he was under contract with another record company, and they had to retroactively add him to the credits after the. You know how crazy that is? Like that's insane. Like that's just insane, bro. Yeah. So get back to it. This is like a blues album. Listening to like Dazed and Confused, it's it takes you there, and then I'm like, how the fuck? It lets me know that like when I look at what's the movie? What's the fucking movie? Like Cadillac Records or something, right? And they have what's my man from Cadillac Records? What's his name? Muddy Waters, and how the Rolling Stones like basically brought him over. Like they were such fans of him, and it just reminded me that all those English bands, the music they got in touch with that was like American, that was really like shaped them, was blues music. And that shit is like incredible, just to take that and evolve it. And some people could be mad, but I always look at, I'm never mad at somebody who's inspired by somebody. You know what I mean? Like you can't be mad at that. And one thing I loved about old rock music, like classic rock shit, is that the instruments and guitars and drums can play as the chorus and hook sometimes. Like Robert Plant would do a whole verse and then he'll drop out, like, and then it'll just be the guitar playing the hook and the melody of a hook with no words over top of it, just the guitar and pianos and drums playing the melody. And you don't really get that anymore. Everything in music now is just, everything's full. Like it's no empty space in music no more. So it's harder to just feel. Like I think when you let those instruments breathe and you let let the instruments speak for you, it creates a whole nother connection with the listener, especially for me at least. Like on songs like well, Your Time's Gonna Come, I Can't Quit You, Babe, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. These songs, like, they'll just let it breathe, and that shit is just, it just fucking warms my soul. Like, damn, you won't find that anymore, for lack of better words. Like, you really just won't find that, and you won't even find good rock anymore. Like, and then listening back to it, I was like, oh, this is where all the bands got their shit from. Like, you know how much, not just on this album, but Zeppelin 2 and everything beyond, like, you can hear the inspiration. And these guys knocked the fucking knocked Abbey Road off the top of the charts on multiple occasions. And I thought that was just dope in itself. You know what I mean? To have this new band come in and just fuck shit up. Like, even like Sad story, but even like the name Led Zeppelin is kind of like the stars had to align for that. If you're familiar, they went by the Yardbirds, and then that band dismantled, and then Page was just left to, you know, start a new band and continue this music shit on because he's a fucking genius. So the way that name came about is just like, nah, it's like a Led Zeppelin. Like, well, how did you even? It's like too true to be true. Like it's too unbelievable to be true. But back to the album, I feel like this is one of the greatest heartbreak albums of all time. Like I don't even think, because a lot of times we get guys who, it's usually the females who are really heavy in the heartbreak category of music for the most part. Like a lot of times you won't even get guys like caring like in their songs. Like you barely get that. And I feel like to make 8 songs straight, like, bro, he was having conversations like, you made me leave my only child. Like, who was this woman? Like, who was this muse that fucking fucked this guy? Well, Jimmy Page, and who messed him up so much? Like, it just, if you listen to the lyrics, it's very gut wrenching at times. It's heartbreaking at times, and then on the other hand, you want to dance or just rock out to it. Like, so it's one of a kind. It's not my favorite Zeppelin album, Zeppelin 4. I would either go with Zeppelin 4 or Zeppelin 2 as my favorite. But the fact that they recorded 1 and 2 in the same year and they both came out in the same year is fucking, it's just like perfect. Like and I'll get into Zeppelin 2 when I do that review on that. But to keep it here, I was watching a documentary on Led Zeppelin. I forget the name, but I was watching a documentary. But it was kind of a live show at Madison Square Garden, and their manager, which is like doing my history on him. He's like I said, every artist need a manager like that. 6'2", 300 pounds. He like Suge Knight in a way. like somebody got into the venue and was selling merch, but it wasn't a part of the Zeppelin crew. And he's just like going the fuck off. How do y'all operate in the States? This shit is crazy. Like, how did y'all even let this guy in the building? And just to see someone ride for their artist so hard and like gave them the space to create. Like, it takes a skill to do that. To like, you know how many managers are just like, you got to do this, you got to wear this, you got to kind of make this record. Yeah, so intertwined within the artist's careers that they won't even let them be great. He saw that they were great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he saw how they were great and let them be great. And let them be great. That's like, that's hard to find. It's really hard to find. One of the first songs I heard from this album, period, because I'm gonna be truthfully honest with you, I got onto the Zeppelin train really late. Like, obviously, I was born in 1990, so I had no choice but to get on the train late. But Dazed and Confused is one of the first songs I ever heard from Zeppelin, and I'm pretty sure, like everybody, when they hear Dazed and Confused, it fucking blows their fucking mind. But it made me want to dig in their bag more and more and more and more, and just to see their growth from 1 to their last album, or just 1 through 4, is just, it's just impeccable, and you really can't find anything like that. Like, period. From their artwork, like, the artwork itself is like beautiful. Like, and to not have the artist on the cover, like, it's only a few artists I know that like their face is not on the cover. Like, Zeppelin's one of them for the most part. I really can't even think. Kanye is not on any of his album covers to be so egotistical as he is. Like, that's an art in itself for me. Like, let's focus on the art of it. Like, it's just so beautiful, man. Let's get into my best songs. Favorite songs, I'm gonna go with Dazed and Confused, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, and Your Time Is Gonna Come. Your Time Is Gonna Come, the hook reminds me of a Beatles record, to be truthfully honest with you. It reminds that chanting, that I don't know, it's like a call and response. I could see a whole crowd singing, Your time is gonna come. Like, I could see that. You know what I mean? And just like that how like you're gonna get yours, bitch. Like that's pretty much what that song's about. Like, you're gonna get yours sooner or later. All the shit that you put me through, lying, cheating, that's all you seem to do. Like, it's just so fucking dope. I can't even explain it more than I explained it. As you can see, worst song, I didn't want to do it. but if I had to choose a worst song, and this is a cop out, but I'm gonna go with Black Mountainside. Nothing against the song. It's just an instrumental track, no vocals at all. It's cool, but it's one of the ones I'm skipping past when I'm listening to Zeppelin one. And I forgot about Communication Breakdown. Sorry, I forgot about Communication Breakdown. That one was one of the singles, I believe, and I love the communication. Like, man, that shit is just fucking dope. Favorite line on the album, I'm gonna go with, it's a line from Dazed and Confused, obviously. It says, been dazed and confused for so long, it's not true. One of the women never bargained for you. Lots of people talking, few of them know. The soul of a woman was created below. This bitch came from hell. like, at first when I was listening to it, I thought he was talking to like private parts in a way, like some of the woman's career. For some reason, I don't know. I was young. I was just, that was my first thought. But then as I get older and listening to the lyrics, and bro, Robert Plant voice again is just, it's eerie at times. How it's scary how good it is. You know what I mean? It blows my mind. But that's my favorite line from it. To close it out, this album is a great introduction to a band, to an artist. From the first track, Good Times, Bad Times, it starts off with a great vibe. It starts off on that rock and roll, that classic rock and roll feel that you just have to love. It sets it up for what's to come. Like, if I was like alive in '69, like I don't really want to be alive in '69, but I could see like, who the fuck are these people? Especially in the States, like who the fuck are these people? Like, who's this band? Like, especially coming out of the Beatles era, like, because Beatles are pretty much done around this time. But coming out of that era, we needed, but they probably needed just something new. Like, and they picked up that torch and fucking burned the fucking house down, for a lack of better words. And like I said before, to have two albums in the same year, and then the second one, I'm not going to get too much into it because I'm going to do that review too, but to go into the second one and it starts off with A Whole Lot of Love, and it's like, oh, we in our bag now. We did that heartbreak shit, but yeah, we in our bag now. And like, it just blows my mind that how great music used to be, like, especially in those times. Entering the psychedelic era, like, well, close to the end, the hippie era, I would assume. But man, it's just great music, and I'm just appreciative that it was released, that I get to do this, that I get to talk about it, that I get to wear this T-shirt. That, it's just inspiration. I just love music that inspires me, and it makes me think, it makes me feel, it makes me, it just makes me, for for a lack of better words. So, what's you guys' favorite songs? Is something I missed? Is it something? Tell me some. I know it's a lot of Zeppelin fans out there. Give me the scoop on the stuff that everybody doesn't know. Like, let me know in the comments. Yeah. And should I continue? Like, it's up to you guys. I'm gonna do 1 through 4, but should I go past 4 and get into the other albums? Just let me know. Again, hit that like, subscribe button. So, Zeppelin, I'm giving you your flowers if no one else is going to do it. I'm Tatum. That's pretty much it. Peace.